Something unimaginable is happening across America. The drive-thrus are empty, the neon signs are dimming, and the smell of fried comfort is fading from the air. From New York to Nevada, once crowded restaurants are shuttering at a pace not seen in decades. Prices have doubled, wages have stagnated, and families who once depended on fast food can no longer afford it. Behind every closed sign lies a broken promise that cheap, quick meals would always be there. But in 2025, that illusion is dying. This is the story of the giants falling, the collapse of America's fast food empire. Number 10. TGI Fridays. The collapse of one of America's most iconic dining chains is no longer a rumor. It's unfolding in real time. TGI Fridays, once the symbol of casual comfort and post-work gatherings, is facing its darkest chapter in decades. In early 2025, the company confirmed the closure of over 180 U.S. locations, wiping out nearly 7,000 jobs in just 4 months. Many of these restaurants weren't in obscure suburbs. They were in prime retail corridors, once packed with families and after-office crowds. Today, half of those parking lots sit empty, neon signs flickering like dying memories of a different America. Sales have plunged by nearly 22% compared to 2019, and average revenue per store has fallen below $1.4 million, an all-time low for the chain. Rising food costs, up nearly 40% since 2020, and skyrocketing labor expenses have eaten through its razor-thin margins. A burger that cost $9.99 now sits at $15.49. That's not inflation alone. It's desperation. Consumers, already crushed by rent, car loans, and medical bills, simply stopped coming. According to U.S. Restaurant Analytics, traffic in casual dining dropped 11.6% year-over-year, and Fridays is taking the brunt of that collapse. Behind the scenes, franchisees are abandoning ship. Over 30 franchise owners have filed for debt restructuring or temporary shutdowns, citing unsustainable lease agreements and declining foot traffic. The once beloved happy hour has turned into a financial liability, as younger customers favor cheaper fast casual spots or delivery apps instead. The brand that invented the American casual dining vibe in the 1970s is now being choked by that very market it helped create. What's even more shocking is the psychological shift. Fridays used to represent affordable celebration, a place for birthdays, first dates, and promotions. Now, analysts say the brand has lost its cultural meaning. Its core demographic, middle-class America, is shrinking fast. Average household dining out frequency has dropped from 5.3 visits per month in 2019 to just 2.7 in 2025. TGI Fridays isn't just another restaurant struggling. It's a reflection of the vanishing middle America it once served. The decline of this chain signals something deeper, that the very idea of affordable joy in dining is slipping away from the American table. Number 9. Hooters. Few brands were as instantly recognizable or as controversial as Hooters. Once a $1.2 billion icon of American casual dining, it was a place where spicy wings, cold beer, and a very specific kind of nostalgia drove crowds through the doors. But in 2025, the orange shorts and neon signs can't hide the brutal truth. Hooters is collapsing. In June 2025, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, confirming the closure of over 150 U.S. locations. That's nearly half its domestic footprint gone within 1 year, and more than 6,000 employees suddenly out of work. The problem isn't just financial, it's cultural, generational, and economic all at once. Hooters thrived during an era when dining was an experience, not a luxury. Today, with rent up 25%, grocery bills up 21%, and credit card debt hitting $1.4 trillion, Americans are cutting fun spending first. In fact, restaurant analysts estimate that sales in the sports bar and casual grill segment dropped 17% year-over-year in Q2 2025. Even loyal customers now admit that $16 wings and $9 beer pitchers are impossible to justify. But the financial side tells an even grimmer story. Hooters' average unit volume plunged below $1 million per store, compared with over $1.7 million in 2016. delivery apps have eroded dine-in demand, while high labor turnover, exceeding 90% annually, has crippled service consistency. Franchisees owe an estimated $180 million in combined rent and supplier debts, forcing abrupt closures in states like Florida, Texas, and Georgia, areas once considered Hooters strongholds. The brand also faces an identity crisis. Younger diners favor gender-neutral, health-conscious environments, not the dated party bar vibe. Hooters' rebranding attempts, including smaller Hoots Wings spin-offs, failed to gain traction. Online sentiment reflects the decline. Search interest for Hooters near me fell 58% nationwide between 2020 and 2025. Behind the numbers lies a painful truth. The model that once symbolized carefree American leisure doesn't fit a society struggling with cost of living anxiety. Hooters' decline isn't just about falling sales. It's about a cultural shift where escapism now happens on screens, not in sports bars. In 2025, America isn't looking for entertainment with dinner. It's looking for survival. Number 8. Taco Bell. For decades, Taco Bell was the king of late-night America. Cheap, fast, and comfortingly greasy. But the bell that once rang across 7,000 U.S. stores is growing faint. In 2025, the company faces its toughest year in a generation, closing over 400 underperforming locations, mostly in suburban and college town markets. Same-store sales are down 6.2% year-over-year, the sharpest U.S. decline since 2011. Even more alarming, average foot traffic in major cities like Los Angeles and Chicago has plunged 14%, according to Placer.ai. The reasons are layered. Inflation pushed menu prices up nearly 27% since 2019, breaking the psychological cheap meal barrier that made Taco Bell a cultural icon. A Crunchwrap Supreme that cost $3.49 now hovers near $6.29. In an economy where 64% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, that difference matters. Once a symbol of affordability, Taco Bell now competes with grocery store frozen burritos for budget-minded customers. The chain's core demographic, young adults and night shift workers, has been hit hardest by rising rents and credit card delinquencies. Sales between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., once its golden window, have dropped 19% year-over-year. And with gas prices climbing past $4 a gallon in many states, delivery orders, a lifeline during the pandemic, have collapsed by 30%. Franchise owners report mounting debt as utility costs rise and wages for kitchen staff exceed $17 an hour. Corporate parent data shows that operating margins fell from 22% to 13% in under 2 years. Even the brand's signature innovation, new menu items every quarter, can't mask shrinking traffic and eroding loyalty. Symbolically, Taco Bell's decline hits deep. It was the last affordable escape meal for millions of lower-income Americans, a $5 box that didn't feel poor. Now that box costs $8.49, and consumers are saying no. TikTok is filled with viral videos comparing old and new prices, fueling outrage. In 2025, the chain that built its empire on late-night joy is being crushed by early-morning reality. Americans simply can't afford fast food anymore. Number 7. Sweetgreen. Once hailed as the future of healthy dining, Sweetgreen is now facing a brutal reality. America can no longer afford luxury lettuce. In 2025, the salad empire that once promised food with integrity is drowning in red ink. Same-store sales have plummeted 7.2%, and more than 40 U.S. locations have shut their doors since January. Investors who once viewed the company as the next Chipotle are watching its stock sink below $10 per share, down from its 2021 IPO price of $52. For many, Sweetgreen's collapse is more than a financial story. It's a symbol of how fragile the modern, healthy lifestyle economy has become. A Sweetgreen bowl that once cost $9.95 now averages $15.29 nationwide, with some locations breaching $17. Add a drink, and you're paying nearly $20 for lunch. In a year, when the median American worker's weekly paycheck buys 20% less food than it did in 2020. That math doesn't work. Millennials and Gen Z professionals, once the brand's core audience, are now trading down to cheaper grab-and-go options or skipping out entirely. Delivery orders have fallen 28%, and dine-in foot traffic is down nearly 18%, according to Q2 analytics. Behind the counter, things look equally grim. Employee turnover is running at 92% annually, while food waste costs, due to short shelf life and premium ingredients, have surged 30%. Each shuttered store represents hundreds of thousands of dollars in sunk build-out costs, often exceeding $1.2 million per unit. Even the company's high-tech infinite kitchen automation initiative, meant to replace human labor, has done little to slow the bleeding. But the deeper issue is psychological. Sweetgreen once represented aspiration, the idea that eating clean and local meant success. In 2025, it represents guilt and exclusion. In a nation where 42 million people rely on food stamps, $17 salads feel like an insult. Analysts warn that Sweetgreen is the canary in the coal mine for upscale fast casual chains, showing how fragile premium brands become in a middle-class meltdown. The collapse of Sweetgreen isn't just about overpriced kale. It's a mirror reflecting America's widening economic divide, a country where the dream of healthy living has become a luxury few can afford. Number 6. Chipotle Mexican Grill. It was supposed to be recession-proof, the modern face of fast casual dining, the pioneer that turned burritos into a cultural movement. But in 2025, even Chipotle's stainless steel empire is cracking. For the first time in a decade, U.S. same-store sales dropped 4.5%, while traffic in major urban markets plunged 12% year-over-year. Analysts estimate that average customer spend per visit, now above $14.80, has outpaced inflation by 35%, driving away its price-sensitive base. The company quietly closed 75 low-performing locations in 2025, mostly in suburban areas hit hardest by layoffs and rising living costs. The problem? America's disposable income has evaporated. Incomes have risen just 3%, while food prices have soared nearly 21% since 2021. A burrito bowl that once cost $8.50 now crosses $12, and adding guacamole can push it to $16. For a family of 4, that's a $64 dinner, the same cost as a full grocery trip. Once viewed as the affordable, healthy alternative, Chipotle is now being labeled fast casual luxury by frustrated consumers online. Operational costs have exploded too. Minimum wages across key states like California and New York exceed $16 to $18 per hour, while avocado and protein costs are up 40%. The company's profit margins have shrunk from 22% to just 14% in 2 years. Even delivery partnerships meant to boost convenience have backfired, with commissions eating up to 30% of order revenue. Chipotle's marketing strategy, built on ethical sourcing and sustainability, now feels detached from a nation where millions are just trying to stay afloat. Its core demographic, middle-income professionals, are being crushed by rent inflation and student loan repayments. And as competitors like Qdoba and Moe's/Prices, Chipotle's premium integrity message no longer resonates. What's collapsing isn't just a brand, it's a symbol. Chipotle was once the poster child for a modern, upwardly mobile America. In 2025, it's become a cautionary tale of how even success stories crumble when a nation's economic foundation weakens. For millions, that once perfect burrito bowl now tastes like the bitter flavor of inflation itself. Number 5. KFC. For decades, Kentucky Fried Chicken stood as the golden symbol of Southern comfort, a taste of nostalgia packed in a red bucket. But in 2025, that bucket is leaking fast. Across the U.S., KFC has shuttered over 400 stores since January, representing nearly 10% of its national footprint. U.S. same-store sales are down 5.3% year-over-year, the sharpest domestic fall in over 15 years. Behind the counter, executives quietly admit the brand is losing its base, as working-class families who once depended on KFC's value meals are now walking away from $30 family buckets they can no longer afford. The collapse runs deeper than fried chicken. It's a collapse of the entire economic ecosystem that sustained it. A KFC combo meal that cost $7.99 in 2019 now averages $13.49, and a 12-piece family bucket has surged past $32 in many states. That's nearly a 68% increase in 6 years. Meanwhile, wages haven't kept up, and the average U.S. family is spending 11.3% of disposable income just on food, the highest level since 1989. When the average customer has $0 left after paying rent and gas, fried chicken becomes a luxury, not dinner. Operating costs have exploded too. Cooking oil prices are up 43%, poultry costs have risen 31%, and utility bills for franchisees jumped 22% year over year. Labor shortages have forced hourly wages above $16 in 22 states, eating what little margin remained. More than 60 franchise owners across the country are currently renegotiating debt agreements just to survive. KFC's identity crisis is glaring. Once the heart of affordable family meals, it's now squeezed between ultra-cheap competitors and trendy chicken sandwich chains that attract Gen Z. Even attempts to modernize with Beyond Fried Chicken and digital kiosks fell flat, failing to reconnect with cost-strained consumers. At its core, KFC's decline is symbolic of an American tragedy, a working-class brand priced out of its own audience. The same families who once celebrated Sunday dinners with a bucket now pass the restaurant without stopping, knowing that the Colonel's comfort has become another casualty of inflation. Number 4. Pizza Hut. America's once favorite pizza chain is now facing a slow, painful meltdown. Pizza Hut, the crown jewel of American takeout in the 90s, has seen its empire crumble under crushing economic pressure. In 2025, over 500 U.S. outlets have closed, bringing the total to under 5,200 stores nationwide, the lowest count in 40 years. Same-store sales are down 6.8%, and franchise bankruptcy filings have tripled since 2023. The company's U.S. division, once generating $5 billion annually, is now struggling to stay above $3.2 billion in gross revenue. For decades, Pizza Hut was synonymous with family nights, red roofs, and affordable indulgence. But the average large pizza now costs $17.49, up from $11 just 5 years ago. Add delivery fees, tips, and taxes, and a single meal can easily surpass $30. A steep climb for a family struggling with record rent and credit card balances topping $1.3 trillion nationwide. Inflation has devoured value dining, and Pizza Hut's core demographic, suburban middle America, has been decimated by rising mortgage rates and job insecurity. Behind the scenes, franchisees are bleeding cash. Delivery app commissions consume up to 28% of order revenue. Cheese prices are up 40%. And the company's outdated dine-in infrastructure costs millions annually in maintenance. Many red roof restaurants now sit empty, relics of a bygone era when families ate together on Friday nights. The digital pivot came too late. Domino's now owns the tech-driven delivery market, while smaller chains undercut Pizza Hut's bloated prices. Internal documents reveal corporate plans to convert nearly 1,000 dine-in outlets into carry-out-only ghost kitchens by 2026. A desperate attempt to stay alive. The fall of Pizza Hut isn't just about declining sales. It's a cultural loss. The chain that once represented warmth, laughter, and affordability now symbolizes an economy where even a simple pizza night feels out of reach. As Americans trade nostalgia for necessity, the red roof that once glowed with family joy now flickers over a nation struggling to afford dinner itself. Number 3. Burger King. Have it your way has become, have it if you can afford it. Burger King's 2025 collapse is one of the most shocking in the fast food world. The chain has announced the closure of over 700 U.S. restaurants, erasing nearly 10,000 jobs nationwide. Sales are down 8.4%, and franchise bankruptcies are spreading like wildfire. The brand, once second only to McDonald's, now risks falling out of the top 5 entirely. The math behind the disaster is brutal. Burger King's average menu prices have risen 32% since 2020, while customer traffic has dropped nearly 18% year over year. A Whopper combo now averages $12.59, up from $7.99 just 4 years ago. For millions of Americans, that's the difference between dinner and skipping a meal. Even the much-hyped $5 duo meal failed to boost sales, as consumers complained that value meals aren't value anymore. Corporate debt exceeds $11 billion, and franchise operators report razor-thin profits, with average store margins dipping below 5%, half the break-even threshold. Utilities are up 24%, wages up 19%, and food inputs like beef have surged nearly 30% year over year. The company's costly Reclaim the Flame remodeling program, a $400 million project meant to modernize aging stores, has backfired, driving smaller franchisees deeper into debt while doing little to fix collapsing traffic. The damage goes beyond numbers. Burger King's brand loyalty has evaporated. Social media sentiment shows a 45% drop in positive mentions since 2022, and customer surveys reveal deep frustration with quality and pricing. Many stores in struggling cities like Detroit, St. Louis, and Cleveland have been abandoned entirely. In the 1980s, Burger King symbolized America's youthful rebellion, a fast, bold alternative to McDonald's. In 2025, it represents corporate exhaustion and a broken economic promise. The sight of shuttered drive-thrus across once busy highways tells a story not just of one brand's decline, but of a nation where fast food, once the last refuge of affordability, has become another victim of economic collapse. Number 2. Wendy's. For decades, Wendy's stood proudly as the honest alternative in fast food. Fresh beef, square patties, real value. But in 2025, even the smiling red-haired mascot can't hide the storm. Wendy's is collapsing under the same economic pressure that's crushing the American middle class. Over 450 U.S. stores have already closed this year, with same-store sales falling 6.9%, the steepest decline in company history. Corporate filings reveal that franchise bankruptcies have risen by 38%, and several major regional operators are on the verge of liquidation. The financials paint a devastating picture. The average Wendy's meal, once known for its affordability, now costs $12.75, up from $8.29 in 2019, a 54% increase. Inflation has gutted the chain's appeal to its loyal blue-collar base. Even the signature 4 for $4 deal, once the symbol of working-class relief, quietly disappeared in 2024 and was replaced with the Biggie Bag, now priced at $6.99 or more. That's not value anymore. It's a reminder that in today's America, even fast food has joined the ranks of luxuries. Franchise owners are sounding alarms. Labor costs have soared 21%, beef prices are up 35%, and electric bills for small stores have jumped nearly 30% compared to 2022. With margins shrinking to single digits, more than 60 franchisees have halted new investments entirely. Analysts estimate Wendy's U.S. system debt could surpass $9 billion by the end of 2025. Culturally, the brand is losing relevance. The younger demographic, once drawn to its snarky Twitter persona, has drifted toward cheaper street food and delivery apps. Meanwhile, longtime customers complain that menu prices are rising faster than wages. Fast food used to be an escape from struggle, one analyst said. Now it's a reminder of it. Even Wendy's leadership seems unsure of its direction. The company's push for digital drive-thrus and AI menu pricing backfired, sparking outrage after customers discovered prices fluctuating by time of day and neighborhood. A literal algorithm for inequality. Wendy's decline isn't just a corporate crisis. It's a reflection of America's broken consumer economy, where loyalty can't survive when the wallet runs dry. The chain that once promised quality is our recipe is now a cautionary tale, proof that no amount of freshness can survive when an entire nation's appetite is shrinking. Number 1. McDonald's. The golden arches that once symbolized America's optimism now cast a shadow of decline. In 2025, McDonald's, the largest fast food empire on Earth, is faltering in its own homeland. U.S. same-store sales dropped 3.6% in Q1, followed by another 2.9% decline in Q2, marking the company's worst domestic performance since the 2008 recession. Over 800 locations are slated for closure by year's end, particularly in low-income and rural areas where sales have collapsed by as much as 15%. The problem isn't just higher prices, it's the crumbling purchasing power of an entire nation. A Big Mac meal, once America's symbol of cheap convenience, now averages $13.59 nationwide, up from $6.39 in 2019, a staggering 113% increase in 6 years. Even the dollar menu, the cornerstone of McDonald's identity, is dead. Today, there's barely anything under $3. Customers are angry, foot traffic is down 14%, and the brand's reputation for affordability is shattered. For decades, McDonald's thrived on being every man's meal. But in 2025, the everyman can't afford it. Middle-income families are skipping fast food altogether, while younger generations label it low quality at high prices. U.S. franchisees are battling rising rent, food, and labor costs. Ground beef prices are up 32%, packaging costs up 27%, and average crew wages now exceed $17 an hour in key states. Profit margins have plunged from 18% to barely 10%. Internally, McDonald's executives are panicking. Their much-hyped value meal relaunch failed to reverse declining traffic. Meanwhile, automation upgrades and digital drive-thrus, meant to cut labor costs, have alienated customers with inconsistent service and technical breakdowns. Even loyal customers are revolting online, with hashtags like #McBroken trending nationwide after self-order kiosks malfunctioned. But beyond economics, this is an emotional collapse. McDonald's was never just a restaurant. It was a cultural anchor, a part of the American childhood experience. Birthday parties, road trips, lunch breaks, all once tied to the glow of the Golden Arches. Now, that glow feels hollow. The fall of McDonald's is not just the story of one brand. It's the story of a collapsing middle class. When even McDonald's becomes unaffordable, it means something fundamental has broken in America's promise. The empire that fed the world is now feeding on its own decline.